Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a topic that's honestly more important than ever, that deep connection between our own mental well-being and how we show up at work. We're going to be leaning on some amazing insights from RuiEnglish to really explore why a thriving mind is, at the end of the day, the secret to a thriving workplace. All right, let's get into it. So, I want to start with a number that it really made me stop and think. 63%. A recent study found that employees dealing with burnout are a whopping 63% more likely to take a sick day. Now, this isn't just about a few extra days off. This is a huge red flag, pointing to a much, much bigger issue. And I bet this leads to a feeling we've all had at some point, right? You're physically there, you're in the meeting, you're at your computer, but your brain is just gone. That's called presenteeism, and it's one of the clearest signs that our mental well-being is really struggling. And that's exactly where we need to start this conversation. Because here's the deal. When we ignore those signs, there's a real cost. And I'm not just talking about feeling a bit off. We're talking about real, measurable problems that affect us personally and the companies we work for. Just think about it for a second. It all starts to snowball, you know? It might begin with one missed deadline. Then productivity starts to dip. And before you know it, what started as one person's private struggle is sending ripples across the entire team. This shows us that supporting mental health isn't some fluffy perk. It's absolutely essential for business. So how do we start to get a better handle on all this? Well, RuiEnglish has this great idea. We need to stop thinking about mental health as like an on-off switch. You know, you're either healthy or sick. Instead, we should picture it more like a map or a dynamic spectrum that all of us are moving along all the time. And that map is called the mental health continuum. What I really love about this model is how fluid it is. It gets that nobody stays in one spot forever. We all drift back and forth along this spectrum based on, life, the stress we're under, the support we have. It's just a way to check in with yourself without any judgment and see what you need. So this continuum is broken down into 5 basic zones. It goes all the way from excelling on one end to being in crisis on the other. Just seeing it laid out like this makes so much sense, doesn't it? It gives all of us a shared language to talk about where we are and to understand where others might be too. All right, so let's actually walk through these 5 zones together. We'll look at what it feels like to be in each one, and this is the most important part, what we can actually do to either stay in a good place or start moving back toward one. First up, we have the excelling zone. This is that sweet spot. It's when you feel totally on top of your game. You're energized, you're creative, you feel like what you're doing matters. It's really our peak performance, our peak state of well-being. So how do you stay there? Well, it's not about some huge secret. It's all about small, consistent habits. Taking care of your body with good food and sleep, taking a moment to feel grateful, helping someone else out, and of course, setting new goals to keep things interesting. Think of it less like a to-do list and more like building a lifestyle that keeps you fueled up. Okay, next up is the thriving zone, and this is another really great place to be. This is where you can handle the normal, everyday stresses of life without getting totally knocked off course. You're still doing great work, you feel connected to people. It's all about that healthy balance. Now, the key word for thriving is resilience. And resilience isn't about just being tough and powering through. It's about being resourceful. It means really investing in your friendships, maybe practicing some mindfulness to stay centered, and I think this is a brilliant point, using therapy proactively. Not just when things are bad, but as a workout for your mind. And now we shift into the surviving zone. Let's be real, a lot of us can probably relate to being here. It's not that you're sick, but you're definitely not feeling great either. You're just getting through the day. Your energy is low, everything feels like a chore, maybe you're a little bit snippy or just plain tired all the time. So how do you get out of this zone? The trick is to start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Just break that massive project into tiny little pieces. Call a friend you trust. Find just 5 minutes for something that makes you feel a little more like yourself. Those little things make all the difference here. If that strain just keeps building, you might find yourself in the struggling zone. And this is where things start to feel genuinely overwhelming. It's impacting your work, your relationships, your health. This is a big flashing sign telling you it's time to reach out for help. When you're in the struggling zone, the absolute best first step is to seek professional help, period. From there, it's all about triage. You got to protect your energy. That means getting back to basics. Are you sleeping? Eating okay? It also means giving yourself permission to say no to things. It's about creating breathing room so you can start to heal. And finally, there's the crisis zone. It is so important that we recognize this for what it is, a mental health emergency. If you or anyone you know is feeling unsafe, thinking about self-harm, or just can't function day to day, taking immediate action is not a suggestion. It is absolutely critical. Look, the information here is simple and direct for a very good reason. These are clear actions you can take right now to get help. And please know that these resources are there for you 24/7. You do not have to go through this alone. Okay, now that we've kind of walked through that individual journey, let's zoom out a bit. How can companies and organizations build a place where it's easier for everybody to stay in those thriving and excelling zones? It's really about building a shared toolkit for well-being. So what does that toolkit actually look like? Well, it can be concrete things like employee assistance programs, which offer confidential support, or it can be about changing the culture. Things like flexible work schedules, normalizing mental health days, and just creating a space where it's truly okay to not be okay and where asking for help is easy. So when a company really commits to this, when they actually invest in these tools and build this kind of supportive culture, well, you get what I like to call the ultimate win-win. And I just love this quote from RuiEnglish because it nails it. Investing in mental health isn't just about doing the right thing, the ethical thing. It's about doing the smart thing for the business. And the proof is right here in the results. The payoff is so clear you can measure it. When people feel cared for, they're more engaged and more productive. Team morale shoots up. People don't want to leave. It's a simple formula. A healthy team builds a healthy and incredibly successful company. So let's end with a question just for you. After hearing all of this, looking at this map of well-being, where do you see yourself right now? And more importantly, what's just one small thing you can do today to support your own well-being? Maybe it's a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's just texting a friend. Whatever it is, remember that every single small step along this continuum really counts.